have been using Bobbi Brown's existing Longwear Even Finish foundation for 18 years and then the stick foundation for 17 years. I actually looked it up, and this actually has a story attached to it that I'll kind of sneak in to this review. Let's go back in time to the 80s when it was very bold and very bright. Blush and vivid colors are on the cheeks, neon lips, eyeshadows. Is very wild and crazy. And let's keep it real. The music. Forever an 80s and 90s fan. Bobbi Brown was also known for the skin itself to look healthy and to look natural. And she was coined as being the first artist to help change the revolution back then from the bright neon red lips on very pale skin and heavy contouring to going that natural, simple route. So she did kind of help change that revolution. It was 1988 when Bobbi Brown met a chemist, and it was a chemist that worked for the Kiehl's Pharmacy Company, who is still also around to this day, the skincare company. And she told the chemist that she hated the lipsticks on the market at that time. They were all dry. They just didn't seem to last on the lips. Sort of, I guess, like liquid lipsticks are when they first came out right now. And they were all just those bold neon colors from the 80s. Bobbi told the chemist that she wanted the lipsticks to be creamy. She wanted them to be long-lasting, so see if you can make that type of a formula. But she also wanted them to be nude and brown-based, sort of what somebody's lips would be. So that way you can wear them on your eyes, cheeks, and lips. And again, staying with the whole aesthetic of being healthy skin and natural makeup. For color swatch, she mixed a taupe eyeshadow and a blush. And that was the swatch color that she gave to the chemist. So from that one initial swatch, and she just named it brown, she got 10 lipsticks that were a variety of shades of that color that she basically cooked up in her kitchen. And to this date, that exact lipstick, which is still called brown, is still their #1 selling lipstick. Fast forward to 1991. The products were still not on the market. She just had the lipsticks, and she was using the products on models, using the products just on assignments, but they weren't being sold to the public. So Bobbi goes to a dinner party in New York. And you know, when you're at a dinner party, you start mingling. This is why you should mingle. This is why you should network, and also be nice to everybody you meet. Because she was talking with a lady, and the guest said, well, what do you do? And she told her, I am a freelance makeup artist, and I also make my own makeup. So she's like, well, what do you make? So she told her about her 10 lipsticks. And the woman turned out to be the cosmetic buyer for Bergdorf Goodman. So she said, I'll take your lipsticks and we're going to put it in the store, and only in our department store, and we'll see how it goes. The rest is history. Orders after orders came in, and everything was just flying off the shelves, because again, it's a total contrast to what was going on at the time, even in the 90s, because the color trend was still going on in the 90s. In 1991, the brand introduced foundation, so we're now moving into their complexion products. And at that point, still staying with that natural, healthy skin look. We have, at that time, a version of the skin foundation. And then we also have a formula for the Longwear foundation. After the foundation in 1991, 1992, they introduced the foundation sticks. And all of the foundation sticks actually have some form of yellow as their overall undertone. Bobbi feels that all of us have some form of a yellow undertone in our skin. So the foundation sticks definitely have more of that yellow tone base to it versus the liquid foundation. 1995 rolls around, and Estee Lauder is noticing that Bobbi Brown Cosmetics is outperforming all of their brands that they have in the department store. So we're talking Estee Lauder themselves, and then whatever other brand they happen to be owning at that time. Leonard Lauder approaches Bobbi and says, we want to buy you, but we're going to buy you as far as to acquire your company and help expand it and help it grow. But we still want you to be the creative person in charge. So it's as if nothing has occurred. We're just going to own, the company and again, help it expand. And there was something that he had said to her that still, I think, sticks with me. And he had said to her that, you remind me of my mother, of Estee. He's very much into female entrepreneurs and women that work really hard. And to this date, Bobbi Brown Cosmetics is still the first female-owned makeup brand. So created and founded by a female. She still holds that title. Another fact that I am happy to report is that Bobbi Brown Cosmetics is the first brand, so since 1995, to on a continuous basis use Black models, African American models, and use them as brides in their advertisements. So as I would look in my Vogue and other magazines growing up in high school, I would always see in Estee Lauder advertisements, their brides were always Caucasian for their, I think it was white linen and whatever the wedding perfume was. But for Bobbi Brown, she used African American models, and she has ever since 1995. It was the year 2000 that I first purchased my very first Longwear Even Finish foundation. Now this isn't the first one. I've gone through multiple bottles, but this is still the same formula that I have always picked out. Now I don't know if it's because I didn't want something with light coverage back then. I'm not certain why I never picked up the skin foundation, but I just went towards the Longwear. I'm going to quickly tell you the story, and I'll make it fast, as to why this is my #1 foundation of life. Every time I wear this foundation, every time I wore it, I got compliments on it. So it is something I like to tell people, pay attention when you get something new and people start to notice. What sealed the deal for me on this foundation and why I said I will never stop using it is I went on a trip to Palm Springs, and we're just killing time before the hotel check-in. And someone said for us to go to, there's just like this local bar. You can just go and sit and relax and watch TV. So we go to the bar. It's like a little dive bar. And we go sit up at the bar. And I remember it was just this old man who was the bartender, look a little rough around the edges. And he asks my friend, what would she like to have to drink? And then he turns to me. And then I'm about to tell him what I would like to drink. And I remember he kind of leaned over the bar and kind of tilted his head and went, "Your skin looks really nice." And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, come on. When you see somebody, a big burly man, and you wouldn't obviously think he would even remotely notice my skin. And he did. He goes, "Your skin looks really nice. You take care of your skin." I said, "Yes, I did." And I turned to my friend and I said, "It's the Bobbi Brown foundation." As per usual, when it comes to testing out a new foundation, even though this is still Bobbi Brown, it's still a different formula, and it's one I haven't tried. So I did pick up a sample at Sephora. For the skin foundation, I am the same color match as in the Longwear. I am Warm Almond. The Skin Even Finish foundation contains SPF 15. It comes in 33 shades, and it is 1 fluid ounce for $50. For $50, it better cover every aspect that I'm looking for. And it also better wow me like the Longwear Even Finish if I'm going to spend that price. Now, I'm actually part of Bobbi's Pro program, so I purchase the products at a reduced price. But even though it's at a reduced price, I don't care. And that's the review that's going to come to you, because you as the consumer watching, you're going to spend $50. And I want to make sure that you at least have everything that you probably need, hopefully, to make an informed decision. When I'm looking at the 2013 version, at that time, the shades were 30 shades. So it looks like they just added 3 more. And also the formula itself was more of a, what I would consider like a water, a gel type formula, and it didn't go through some sort of a fancy process. Like the new version now actually has gone through what they called a cold fusion process. And what that's supposed to do is supposed to, I would say, mimic the texture, mimic the formula to really look amazingly like a fresh layer of skin on your face. That's probably the easiest description that I can give to you. So in a sense, it's a major upgrade. You know, technology changes throughout the years, so it's a major upgrade from the old version versus the new. Ingredient wise, the old version, I'm just going to look real quick at my notes, was free of fragrance, nickel, coconut, parabens, is gluten and soy free. Looking at the new ingredients, they seem to match up as far as still having those ingredients that is not meant to, I would say, clog your pores, bring on more acne and so forth. So I think the foundation, the formula itself, is pretty safe if you are looking for just something that you're not probably going to have any type of allergies to. Hopefully, we're all different. I would say the top two main ingredients that the new formula is marketing itself as is it has marine sugarcane, I'm looking at my notes again, which is going to be help control the excess oil and shine on your skin. Then of course glycerin, which is going to offer those hydration benefits and help retain the moisture. This is also a foundation that's marketed for all skin types, so everyone can be able to use it and still get that skin-like appearance. So I would say the claims aren't that huge. It's just that it's supposed to really make your skin, or hopefully make your skin, look really good. The texture for the new skin foundation, I would say, is about medium thick on the skin. I kind of think of it like how a BB cream, like LA BB cream, would feel on the skin. So you can put it on the skin, it doesn't start running, it just pretty much stays there. Skin foundation is also marketed for a coverage of light to medium, so it's going to be like a natural finish on the skin. For day one, same as I always do on my foundation reviews, I won't wear any primer. I want to see how the foundation will work with my own skin oils and my skin itself. I did not notice any type of an allergic reaction. I did not notice an unpleasant scent. Actually, I didn't really notice a scent at all that I could detect. I also did not notice any color change or oxidizing on my skin. It stayed the same color, it stayed the same throughout the day. I would say the number one area on day one that I noticed is the actual application of the product. Now, when I say that, and I'm kind of looking at my old foundation. With this foundation on day one, I did use a beauty blender to just apply it onto my skin. Now, I believe I read somewhere, and I can't remember where I read it. It was either the brand's website or Sephora, but it had mentioned about using your fingers. So you can use your fingers if you choose to blend in the foundation. It really is just my mood that day and how I kind of want to work it into my skin. So sometimes I want to take a little bit more time, so I will blend in a foundation with my fingers. Sometimes I want to use a sponge, sometimes I want to use a brush. It just really depends on my mood that day. But I did notice with the beauty sponge, it just seemed to offer a very light coverage on my skin. Now, I like medium coverage. I feel if I'm going to have something light on my skin, I just go without foundation, to be honest. That's just me. I couldn't really build it up the way I would have wanted to. So that was day one. Now, for day two, I had used a brush, and I did not turn the camera on that day, so I'm going to verbally tell you. What I did notice is streaks on my face, and it was mainly this region right here and streaks kind of in this nose region. Forehead was fine. I did check in the magnifying mirror and I just noticed there was a lot of streak marks, which I thought was a bit odd because maybe sometimes you can get that with something a little bit more liquid in texture, that's a little bit more thicker. I would think that it would buff in the best into my skin, but I did notice with the brush it had streaks, so I just said I'm not going to use a brush with this. I had enough in the sample for at least 2 more days of application, and the days that I like this foundation the best is when I use my fingers. When I use my fingers to actually, in a sense, mold the foundation to my skin, really work it in almost like a lotion, how you would work in a lotion into your skin. You can really use the heat of your fingers and really press and blend and buff it in all the areas. That is, I feel, gives this foundation it seems to just come alive for some reason. I didn't use a sponge at all, even when it came to building up in coverage, and I just used my pinky for that. So I would take some extra foundation and just spot conceal in those areas where I feel I needed it with my pinky finger. Now I can see it build up, still is peeking through a little bit of darkness, but I can see it building up, so it can build up to a medium coverage. But again, I'm just going in certain areas. I'm not going all over my face, but it just really looks like skin, however, with using your skin, using your fingers. So everything else I was doing, I put my powder on. I'm not using my fingers for that. I use my tools. I don't see it separating on my skin. I didn't see it caking up in any areas except at the powder. Nothing is looking alarming. My skin is not overcompensating itself, being extra shiny. None of that was happening. I feel it was a foundation that behaved for the days that I had it on, but it only behaved, truly, I feel, because I used my fingers. I also noticed on the brand's website, they have this picture next to the shades when you click on it, and they have the stick foundation right next to the foundation. Let's just pretend this is the skin foundation bottle. So there's like right there. And it states, if you really want a true medium coverage, use it with the foundation stick. But this is another expense for the customer. I don't even remember how much this costs because I don't pay full price for it. Let's just say it's $30. So you're now paying, you know, an increased price to get full coverage, to get medium to a full coverage. That's another expense for the customer. Maybe you don't want to deal with the stick foundation. Maybe you have a stick foundation from another brand that you want to use, but will it still look the same? Because I guarantee you, you're still going to get a skin finish if you use their stick foundation. I don't like that you have a foundation that in a sense, to get to full coverage, you got to buy another product to kind of get you up there. I'm going to be real picky with it because, again, the cost is $50. Because it looks so good on the skin, on my skin, by only using my fingers, it's not worth $50. You're going to have to slash that price in half and even go down a little bit more, because I don't want my foundation needs, I don't want to only feel that I'm pigeonholed into using it this one way. And if the best way I'm going to get coverage is my fingers, no. Like I said, some days I want to use a brush, some days I want to use a sponge, and I don't want to be remembering in my head, oh, if I'm grabbing this skin foundation, I got to remember to use my fingers. Which brings me to my point with both of these. I can use these with my fingers, I do, but I also can use them with my sponge. I can use them with a brush. The Longwear Even Finish foundation looks exactly the same. It has for 18 years, looks exactly the same no matter what beauty tool I use. It will look the same on my skin. I'm wearing actually the Longwear foundation in this video, and for today I applied it with my sponge. The skin foundation I personally feel is best for consumers that prefer that sheer coverage, that light coverage, and has the option to go up to medium. You like the fact that it is, promoting that healthy skin, that skin-like appearance. You don't want to feel anything on your skin because you don't feel anything on your skin with this new formula. However, with the Longwear finish, I don't feel anything on my skin either. I kind of feel like this review is also the long wear finish foundation. I just can't help it. I'm comparing the two against one another. That has been my experience and my review with Bobbi Brown's new Skin Even Finish Foundation with SPF 15. This foundation is not that brand new, so I know that there's already a lot of reviews out, so you probably have either already picked up a sample, you already have purchased perhaps the foundation, so I would love to know your experience and how it's been going for you as well as your skin type. I am normal, but I do like to know about other skin types and how it's been working out for you. And I did pick up the correct sample shades for the Shameless foundation. So Marc Jacobs foundation is the next one that I am testing out, and I will make sure to get a review up for you as well. Have a wonderful day or evening. Thank you very much for watching. I always appreciate it when you spend some time with me. And as always, I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.